picked up the yellow 2001 Suzuki DRZ400S. Gonna do a little comparison video against my Kawasaki 1998 KLR250, which is nice and dirty, by the way. Came back last weekend from riding on the Berkshire Trail Riders dual sport section, where I actually fell and cracked my ribs. Bike's doing fine, however. So, immediate apparent differences. Right here, I've lined up the two axles, the center of the two axles, immediately in line with one another. And we can see as we look here, look at the back. It's harder with the camera than with the eye, but the Kawasaki is definitely a few inches both shorter in wheelbase, shorter in height, and just smaller in general. You can see the seat on the Kawasaki here, right there, and then the seat on the Suzuki. Try and get an aerial view here. Suzuki's is longer. I actually thought my KLR was going to be longer, but Suzuki's longer. Seems like it goes up higher on the tank there. The rear wheel is definitely larger. The gas tank capacity is smaller. The forks, the KLR has the smaller forks of the two, and they're conventional forks. The forks on the DRZ, however, are what is known as upside down forks, meaning, well, actually, are they conventional? I may have just confused myself. These are conventional forks. They're just big, beefy monsters on there. Yeah, conventional forks. Okay. So they're both conventional forks. They're just pretty beefy on the DRZ. DRZ has its passenger foot pegs way up here. Kawasaki has them set down further. You see I have my broken chain there. Continued riding after I cracked my ribs. Didn't know I cracked my ribs until my chain finally fell off. Turns out I had a new countershaft sprocket put on inside out the wrong way, so that was putting stress, and lots of mud. Lots and lots of mud got caked up under the countershaft sprocket and kind of wore its way out. DRZ electric start, KLR kick start. Starts very easily. KLR, nice and light, easy to handle. DRZ, we can see already that, just look here at the height differences. I'm looking straight bang on both of these bikes. The DRZ easily has, boy, 6 inches at the handlebars higher. The seat and the gas tank, the seat is like 6 inches higher. The gas tank, maybe 4 inches higher, so it's definitely carrying its weight a bit higher. What else can I say about these two? The Suzuki looks like it has an actual rack back here. The Kawasaki does not really. It has like a little plate on the subframe to hold the tool bag. Kawasaki 6-speed transmission. Suzuki 5-speed transmission. Kawasaki KLR, drum brakes on the rear, which actually work very well when you're going through crazy mud, as opposed to the disc brakes on the back of the Suzuki, which when you get it too wet and muddy, if it's like any other disc brakes, it's going to suffer somewhat. I know my front disc brake does when it's caked up with mud and whatnot. Wheel sizes, the rear wheel's an 18-inch on the DRZ, 17-inch on the KLR. My KLR has far better sticker coverage on it. My KLR has a KLR 650 shock on the back. So the amount of travel I get out of my shock on the back, if you look back in here, that's up way higher than you'll see any other KLR 250 you've ever seen. Distance between the rear wheel and the fender. It can go even higher. The shock is on one of its near lowest settings. DRZ has a monstrous amount of travel up in there. Yeah, It looks like even with the larger wheel, let's see if I can put my arm in here for distance. It's almost like, how would I measure it? Just, okay, so it's almost my elbow to my fist at the top of there. On the KLR, it's only like, so KLR is halfway of, like right there, so like halfway my forearm to my knuckles. And this one is 3/4 my forearm to my knuckles distance between the inner fender and the tire. It's got a toolbox in this one. Looks like I have to replace a bolt holding the plastic on there. The muffler on there, someone has put a different end cap on the muffler. I think that's actually the stock one, and they gave me an aftermarket one to bring to put on later. KLR, I've got LED turn signals on there to reduce power consumption, so I can power things off of the accessory plug here. Use that for cell phones, charging up my GoPro camera while I'm riding. I'm going to have to do the same thing to the DRZ. DRZ has a digital LCD, very basic instrument cluster on there. You look and say, hey, it's LED, it must be cool and do a lot of things. Nah, doesn't do much. I tried to see if it even had a tachometer on there. It appears to not. You know, when I press select, the select button seems to do a whole lot of nothing. Maybe it's broken. Maybe none of the buttons work. Mode, trip works. Time. Ooh, it's got a time countdown. That's pretty cool. What's the select button do, man? The select button doesn't do anything. Oh well. If anybody knows what the select button does, please respond to this video and let me know. But yeah, I've got the same type of a tire on the back of both of these bikes. The KLR250 has a brand new Pirelli MT21. The DRZ400 has a pretty damn old and used up Pirelli MT21 in the rear. Gonna have to take care of that. Gas tank on the KLR holds 2.9 gallons. Gas tank on the DRZ holds 1.9 gallons. That's going to be tricky to deal with. I'll have to get one of those larger aftermarket ones pretty darn quickly. But yeah, it feels taller and heavier, but definitely has a lot more low-end grunt. The Kawasaki KLR, on the other hand, has enough low-end torque to keep it going over, let's say you need to climb some rocky sections or something. You can definitely point it, control it, and let it lug a bit to get its way up through those rocky sections. And you won't kick the rear wheel out or anything foolish like that. It does great. It does great in all the deep woods sections. I have no idea how the DRZ is going to do yet. It seems to have tons of low-end torque, lofts the front end quite easily. I'm going to have to learn how to control that on the tight wood stuff. I previously had a KLX650, which had similar kind of power and was even a bit heavier. And sometimes the power would get you through, you know, loft the front end over logs and whatnot. So sometimes the power was a good thing. Other times the weight and the power could do nothing, and when you needed really to manhandle the bike, and the KLR likes being manhandled. So that's the immediate just seat of the pants differences between these two. I'll take a quick walk around, and I think you can get the perspective of how different the seat heights are, how different the sizes of the bikes are. Now these two really are parked in line, the axles. So when I walk around and we look at the sizes there, you can see that the axles are lined up right between those two bikes, and the rear of the Kawasaki definitely has another 6 inches on, I mean, the Suzuki has another 6 inches on the Kawasaki. So now I'm getting down to like seat height, but from further away. So bigger bike all around. And everyone was saying I needed a bigger bike. I would always ride in the passenger seat area of the seat on the KLR. So the cushion has kind of a soft portion here. It's kind of hard in the middle between where the two passengers ride, and it's soft again up here. Rarely would I ever ride in this section because I'm just too tall. I'm 6'4". I would often ride with my butt back here and just take advantage of the good suspension travel in the back. It's been a great bike. I'm gonna have to, well, I'm gonna miss her. My wife is making me sell it because I got another bike. But hopefully someone else will love her like I did. She's easy to start. She's easy to maintain. She's great on fuel. And she'll take you anywhere. Just not necessarily at warp speed. Although once you wind out that engine, the engine likes to be wound out, she will do a good 80, 85. This one, I have no idea. I hear different things about the top end on there. From being busy on freeways, very buzzy at 70, 75 miles an hour. I don't know. You know, the Kawasaki would scream her lungs out, but she redlines up at 10,000, and she had no problem riding near there all day. This one, I don't know if I'll ever know what the redline is because it has no tachometer on the instrument cluster. Yeah, so it'll be an adventure. Maybe when I get on the freeway and I do 80 miles an hour, maybe it'll seem fine compared to what I'm used to, but we'll find out. So yeah, watch for some more videos as I transition. Ooh, here goes some Harleys by. As I transition from riding the KLR250 to the DRZ400. Thanks for watching. Bye.